What's up, everybody? Marvel Across 316, and we are going to be looking at the Invincible Iron Man. That's right, Iron Man #1 in this comic book flashback. I'm so happy to be looking at this series as we start this series out with a bang. I got a recommendation to do this, and I'm so happy to go ahead and just cover this first issue with y'all today. This issue came out in May of 1968. And this is going to be a pretty spectacular issue. And so let's go ahead now and dive on into today's story. Today's title is Alone Against AIM here. We'll be looking at this main story as well as a very small origin story of how Tony Stark became Iron Man. And so this issue is brought to you by Archie Goodwin, who basically wrote this issue. We have Gene Colan on the artwork, Johnny Craig on the inking, and Art Simek on the lettering page. And so the two main big crime organizations that we're going to be looking at today is the Magia and AIM. And Iron Man is going to be going up against AIM and AIM soldiers a lot in this issue. But basically what's going on right now is there's this Magia ship, and it's basically sinking in the ocean, and it's been attacked, I think, by AIM here is what the context, I think that's what the context is showing here. And so basically Iron Man is being suctioned up right into this strange looking chamber here by AIM, and he has no choice but to be held captive by AIM here. As we see right here, a bunch of AIM soldiers have basically taken Iron Man hostage. And what we've also found out is AIM has this leader here, and his name is Mortius, and he makes his first appearance in this issue. And so basically, this guy named Mortius is leading AIM, and Iron Man is going to try to stop AIM as much as possible. Now, on top of this ship, there's a lot of people sinking, and this is a terrible tragedy here. But basically, what we're going to find out is that S.H.I.E.L.D. is also going to be aiding Iron Man in this mission. So Iron Man is knocked out by this gas here, and he just stiffens up and he falls to the ground. Thanks to Mortius, he's the one that developed this gas. So now Iron Man is completely helpless here, as he is now going to be basically looked upon. And their main mission here, AIM's main mission, is to copy the armor of Iron Man. And so, like I was saying, on this ship, there's some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents on the ship, and one of the guys is Jasper Sitwell. He is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. here, and he's trying to help as much as possible with this sinking ship to help everybody out and stuff, as this ship is basically sinking in the ocean. And he's like, "There is no cause for alarm. An authorized S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is in your midst. Please let me through. I have the means to rescue everyone." All of a sudden, a big wave of water splashes on Jasper here, knocking off his glasses. And someone is beginning to drown here. This beautiful lady that we'll soon find out her name here very shortly. She gives him back his glasses, and we find out that she's not a new character. She actually appeared in Tales of Suspense number 98. And so this woman here, her name is Whitney Frost. We also see that Whiplash is also on the ship. He's, I guess, working for the Magia. Someone can correct me on that. And so we see that Jasper Sitwell grabs Whitney Frost, dives into the ocean. He has had underwater survival training in the past thanks to working for S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we see that Jasper is going to use his radio here, even though it's been in underwater. It was developed by Tony Stark, and he calls for Nick Fury to come pick him up in this helicopter. They pick him up, and we see that Jasper and Whitney are greeted by none other than Nick Fury, Dum Dum Dugan, and Gabe here. And so we finally realize that this is in fact Whitney Frost, as she reveals her name to Nick Fury here. And all these guys are like, wow, Jasper seems to have picked up a catch here. She thanks Jasper by kissing him, and there's something more going on with Whitney Frost than meets the eye here. She actually got on that Magia ship to meet Tony Stark because she wants to find all the secrets from Stark Industries and basically develop more super weapons, because we find out that she wants to become the big M, that be in charge of the Magia here. And so she's not Morbius, but she wants to take Morbius's place here. And so now let's catch up with Iron Man. We see that Iron Man is completely held hostage here, and he's knocked out from that gas, and he's finally going to meet his fate here. Hopefully not, but he's going to be basically held hostage by AIM. We meet Morbius here, and Iron Man's going to be placed in this X-ray photo chamber, and this is where they're going to copy his armor here, as we soon see. And so everything is under control here. Morbius takes off his helmet here to just show his trust in his men, and he says everything is planning out a-okay. He basically pulls the lever, and here we go. He has already made 3 copies of Iron Man's suit here, gives them to these AIM soldiers. All of a sudden, Iron Man breaks free from that chamber, and now Iron Man is going to come up against these copies of himself. But one thing is for certain: these guys do not have the skill like Iron Man has to take down Iron Man. And so all these guys' weapons just malfunction. They're not working properly. And so Iron Man definitely has the advantage here. Morbius tries to take him out, but nothing seems to stop Iron Man. They pile on top of Iron Man, and Iron Man basically is going to take down all 3 of these guys, these copies of himself. We see that Morbius is getting pretty frustrated at this point, so he's going to fire this cannon here, this rocket cannon. Iron Man is right in the midst of this cannon, but we're going to soon find out that Iron Man basically gets out of the way. So these 3 guys die. Iron Man gets out of the way. He's in hiding, and there's all smoke going on. There's an alarm going on. And so basically Iron Man has set a trap for Morbius and AIM, as he set the controls to maximum overdrive, basically. And this is what's going to happen. It's basically going to blow up the entire facility here. And so basically, Morbius met his fate here. He was wanting to be the leader of AIM, but instead he met a bad fate here. And so that's how we end this issue. Now let's look at the origin story of Iron Man. And like I said, this is a very short origin story. This takes place in March of 1963 at a secluded section of the U.S. defense perimeter in Vietnam, as we see that things are starting to develop at that time with tension with Vietnam in the 60s. This story actually took place in the very first appearance of Iron Man and tells the suspense number 39. Very key issue here. But this is a retelling of what happened. So basically, Tony Stark is this big genius inventor. He's worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. in the past, developed weapons for S.H.I.E.L.D., and he's also making weapons for the U.S. Army so that they can basically have the advantage whenever they go to war in Vietnam. He's a rich guy, a playboy, millionaire, just awesome guy. He goes to Vietnam to check out how his weapons are doing, and all of a sudden his world changes for the worst here, or this is how basically he becomes Iron Man. Basically, he steps on a landmine, and a bunch of shrapnel goes right into his heart here, and so basically he's being captured by this guy named Wong Chu. He's a big terrorist, and while he's been taken hostage and the shrapnel continues to go to his heart, he is forced to build weapons for the enemy here, and he's going to have his assistant here named Professor Jensen. And while they're in this secluded section here, and this, if you've ever watched the Iron Man movie, the first one, it's very similar here. Jensen gets the idea that let's build this big invincible armor for you to wear, Tony, and you can defeat basically um, the enemy here if we can just develop this armor here. And so while they think they're developing weapons, they're actually building the very first Iron Man armor. And the very first Iron Man armor was gray, but also, as we detect here, he initially went to gold coated armor in issue number 40 of Tales of Suspense. And so all of a sudden, Jensen is going to be killed here. He takes the bullets, and we see Iron Man then breaks loose. And over the years, he develops new armors. But that's basically the origin story of Iron Man. I hope you like this issue, and we'll be looking at more issues later to come. So go ahead and give this video a like, and the more likes I get, the more I'll be putting out more of this series. And so, hope to see you in the next one. We'll be looking at issue number 2. And until next time, keep reading comics.